Because of the mentally ill tag, I need someone else to verify evidence and to speak up. All you got to do in order to verify evidence is see it and be willing to write your name down as the fact that you saw it. There's a lot of stuff that I can't just send out to everybody. A lot of things that I can't just post up on YouTube for everybody. Part of that is because of my computer skills. I don't have any. I've learned a little bit. I'm able to send emails. When I first made my email address, I needed help with it. When I made my YouTube, I needed help with it. When I made my Facebook, and way back in the day when I made a MySpace, I needed somebody to help me to do all of those. Before Natalie Bollinger was killed, I didn't even know how to take screenshots. If I'd have been able to take screenshots and send them to her, then she would have realized I was telling her the truth about what was happening. But I didn't know how to do that until after she was dead. And that's a horrible thing. For a whole year before Natalie was killed, I was going to my friends trying to get help stopping it. I needed somebody to help me. Now, because of my disabilities, it's a felony to do what these guys were doing before Natalie was even killed. The things that they were doing were felonies. They just needed to leave me alone. But nearly all of my friends, they're used to me being the guy who listened to all of their problems, all the time, non-stop. So they got used to doing most of the talking. When I needed help, they were still used to doing most of the talking, and they tried. And when I spoke, it was like it went in one ear and out the other. I went to Mark Swanigan to try to get help. I went to Janine Barrett to try to get help. I went to Anna Hunka to try to get help. And Derek Parrish. I went to a lot of different people to try to get help. These were supposed to be my friends. All of them had too much going on in their lives for them to help me. It doesn't take long to write a police report or to go in with someone who has to make a police report. When I traveled to all these different places, I traveled to see people who said they were going to help, except for Jamie. When I went up to see Jamie in South Dakota a couple of years ago, I was done with it all. I mean, really. So I'm trying to find somebody. If any of y'all are interested, type it up in chat. I can send you evidence. If you guys are a notary public, that would be an extra bonus. I guess a notary public, that has to be done in person, so that limits my options. Like I said, I can't go to the courthouse here. But I can send the evidence across email. If you message me, get a hold of me or whatever, and you're interested in helping out, I could sure use it. I might be able to pay something. I don't know how much. All my money is accounted for already. It's already got stuff it's got to go to, but I can shuffle bills around, I guess. But the important part is that I'd be able to send it to somebody who is willing to speak up. Not someone who I'm going to send all this stuff to, and then 6 months down the road, they still haven't said a word or haven't even looked at it. I really need somebody in person to help me, but that is not a happening thing. All these places I went to where people were going to help me, for the most part, they didn't. There was a couple of places that, well, depending upon their personality, they were able to help. At least a little bit. But there was a lot of other people that did more harm than good because they wanted to help. They had their hearts in the right places. They just couldn't stay off the alcohol or off the meth. When someone says they'll go in to talk to the police and the FBI about your situation with you, and then they can't go because they're always paranoid of getting in trouble because they're messed out of their fucking mind, you know you're not in the right place. When somebody tells you every day while they're sober that they'll help you tonight, and then by 6 o'clock they've already started drinking, you know you're not going to get anything done. You know that either A, they're going to be wanting attention from you the whole time, or B, they're going to be arguing with somebody the whole time. Alcohol makes people selfish. Now, there was a few people that were going to help me out with that did show up and help a little bit, you know. I mean, every little bit does help. And some of the little bit, because this is such a complicated situation, some of that little bit is actually a lot. When Jose Santana came down with Star Mejia, he took several thousand photographs of my paperwork. And he got those sent to my autism advocate. And that was the foundation of us pressing charges against all of these agencies. The problem is that when Stephanie showed up the first time, it did cost me a lot of money. And in the end, I got arrested for a crime that was not committed, and they should have dropped the charges 4 years ago on. But they didn't drop the charges until I was in prison here in Lincoln for another series of crimes that I didn't commit. Since I did not commit the crimes, I should not have been locked up, but I was. And all of this evidence that I'd collected and tried to get somewhere safe, tried to get to someone who could do something with it while I was in there, somebody who could try to show the truth. I just simply didn't have anybody. Now, that situation with Star Mejia, see, they didn't get a whole lot done other than driving around the first time. And that's not complaining about them driving around. It was a lot of driving around that needed to be done. We just didn't end up getting anywhere. And then when we went to Colorado and we got pulled over and they took me in on a warrant. And, well, they were pretty abusive there too. But that's to be expected. With the labels put on me, people know they can abuse me and get away with it. All of your frustrations, you can go ahead and take out on me, and nobody's going to give two shits. Now, Star was going to help me, but while I was in jail, she met my friend Ventus. They had sex. And then when she came back to help me, that cost me a lot of money too. And I was kind of hoping that she would help. But because of the sex thing that was now in the picture, which, you know, if you're going to have sex, fine, but if you're here to help me, you need to help. I invested everything I had into trying to get that help. I had my money taken from me. Had to spend a bunch of money as bail to try to bail myself out for crimes that were not even committed. And I keep trying to tell you guys that that's not the only expense. You also have to travel to all of these court dates. They're not going to help you out with that stuff at all. Anyway, I need somebody I can send emails to. It'll be a lot of forwards. A lot of it is emails from Natalie, emails from me. It'll be a bunch of screenshots of, well, a bunch of the places that I had to stay after Natalie died. It shows what a screwed up situation I've been in. Now, a lot of these people did mean well, but a lot of them also really took advantage of me. Some of them did so on purpose, and some of them did not. Some of them made empty promises because they wanted to be able to dip into the money that I was getting for disability. And that's the thing, is that if I'm going to expend this money, I don't have the money to go, paying for help that's not helping. I can't just keep on moving from one end of the country to the other and have to stay with alcoholics. You got no idea how scary it is for me, And not Lana, Shannon Alvarado, with her screaming all the time, she's like, well, I wasn't screaming at you. Here's the thing, is that it doesn't matter who she's screaming at. It's the fact that she's doing it for 8 hours a night when she's drunk, and it is scary. It's also her place, so if you speak up, she'll kick you out. So you don't have a whole lot of freedom or a whole lot of choice in that situation, do you? You just basically take the abuse from the alcoholic. Whether it's directed at you or not, it's still abusive. It is still scary. You're still taking it. The other thing is that I know what sets alcoholics off. As soon as they're drunk, they're selfish. That makes them pretty easy to understand. You already know that if you say anything about their alcoholism, you will become their target. You're just not allowed. You can't say anything about them being addicted if they're an addict. You can't say anything about them being an alcoholic if they're an alcoholic. They sure don't want the whole world to know. And I get that. Of course, the stuff that I said was true, and the things that were said about me were either untrue or they were taken completely out of context. Like people had to go out of their way to cut a bunch of information out of the scenario to try to pretend that a particular thing happened. Oh, this psycho just is magically doing all these crazy things from out of nowhere, and I don't know why. No. A lot of the evidence that I have to show, it's got people's personal information in it. So whoever I send it to, it's got to be verifiable that you are who you are. If your name is, well, some make-up name, make-believe name, whatever, there's really nothing that I can do to make myself trust you, because there's a lot of people that make what's called burner accounts. I've had a lot of people tell me they support me, they're on my side, they want to help me, but they got literally just one friend, and it's me. and their account was just made a few days before. If you're going to speak up, you do need to speak up. So anybody who wants to help, let me know. Send me an email address, and I will send you everything I can. I will send you the same stuff that I send to the Nebraska State Patrol. I just basically need somebody to be a witness. Somebody else to say, yes, I saw it. Through a lot of this, people who said they would take the time, they just ended up having other things that were more important. Sometimes it was their kids. Sometimes it was their drugs. Sometimes it was their video games. Sometimes it was a power trip. And me, I gotta play the little meek mouse in the corner. Be quiet. Say yes, sir. Say yes, ma'am. I know how to be courteous and proper. I also know that sometimes it's important not to be. Anyway, y'all be safe. Stay out of trouble.